All right, everybody, it is the end of 2024. It's time for my top movies of 2024. Let's get right into it. So to start, I want to talk about I Saw the TV Glow. This was just an awesome movie from the same director as We're All Going to the World's Fair. If you haven't seen this one, it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit out there. It's got that 90s aesthetic to it, but really cool, really weird effects. If you're into weird, like, I don't know, dark, and there were all these neon colors, like pinks and greens, and it really reminded me of when I used to watch late night cartoons and TV shows on Nick at Night. This is an awesome movie. And the music, the soundtrack, brilliant. All right, the next one, Dee Dee, right in the same vein, actually, and we're hitting it up with nostalgia again with Dee Dee. This is a movie, the director, this must have been autobiographical. I really think it tells the story of this young kid growing up in the era of AOL Instant Messenger. Reminded me a lot of that Jonah Hill movie, mid-90s, but it's not just a nostalgia, right? It's also like a really endearing story about him falling in love and trying to figure out who he is. A great coming-of-age story. All right, next, Love Lies Bleeding. This is another out there movie. All these movies are kind of out there, but this one in particular has some brutal, extreme violence in it, and if you're not into that, you can ignore this movie, but this is about female power lifters that fall in love, and then there's a murder, and they have to sort of explain to their families what happened, and they're on this police chase. It's a great movie, very stylistic. I know it's the same director as another movie, the name escapes me right now, but it was about like a nun who's coming to terms with being a nun, and they have this supernatural affect to them. Really, really cool movie, Love Lies Bleeding. Definitely check it out. All right, the next one, Alex Garland's Civil War. I think when this movie, the previews came out, it was under a very political mindset. We were right on the verge of a political election in the United States. And so when people heard Civil War, they were like, what? This is going to be like a political movie. But I promise you, this is not the political movie you're expecting. It's actually a lot more about these photojournalists when there's a civil war in a fictional United States, maybe 10, 15 years from now. I love this movie. The sound design is particularly great. And Alex Garland seems to be going on this military bent. I know he just announced this other military movie coming out that he's doing with someone else. So definitely check out Civil War. It was a really cool, unexpected surprise for me. All right, I most recently saw Nosferatu, and this is, of course, the remake by Robert Eggers of the 1922 Dracula remake. Like, let's be clear, Nosferatu is a remake, or it's a retelling of the Dracula story without copyright infringement. And this movie, beautiful cinematography, beautiful colors, beautiful sound design. The acting from Skarsgård, I forget which Skarsgård, but he really did a nice job as the person playing Nosferatu. And everybody else, especially Lily Depp, who is Johnny Depp's daughter, is my understanding. Everybody in this movie is great. And I wouldn't say it's like particularly scary, but it was a pretty gory movie. If you're not into gore, definitely avoid this one. But I wouldn't say it like kept me up at night, but it was just a really well executed gothic horror movie. All right, the next one, Challengers. This is, of course, the tennis film that reminded me a lot of like The Social Network, or one of those other movies where it's sort of like a love triangle. And in this one, we have these two men who are going after the female tennis player. And man, the soundtrack was just like booming in the theater when I saw it. Really fantastic story as well. And this movie took some risks. Like there were a lot of interesting camera shots in the movie. And I think just like if you're looking for a movie with a killer soundtrack and great acting and a really satisfying story, I think Challengers is going to be. And again, it's not really like a sports movie, even though it's about tennis players. It's more of that love triangle intrigue and like will they, won't they, and what's going to happen at the end. So definitely check this one out and buy the soundtrack if that's your thing. All right, the next one is Sean Baker's Anora. And this movie is, again, not for everybody. Sean Baker really loves doing these exposés or these humanization of people who aren't traditionally highlighted in films. And all the way from his first movie, Tangerine, on to Anora, his movies kind of highlight these sex workers and people who are typically looked down upon in society. And what I really liked about Anora is just how the character development is portrayed. I mean, we're not like outright told how the characters feel, but we see the story develop through music and through colors, and the director style kind of changes many times throughout the movie. And I think Sean Baker is honestly one of the best directors doing it today, amongst the other directors that I mentioned in this list. But I really, really liked Anora. It honestly should be higher, but just a few other movies tweaked it out. But check out Anora, and again, like it is one of those movies where the subject matter and some of the visuals you see on screen are going to be shocking, but it's a great story. It's really worth your time if you can put up with those sorts of things. All right, and you know I had to do it. I think we're getting down to, is this 2? Is this 2? No, this is 3. Okay, number 3 is Dune Part 2, and I'm gonna make a lot of people upset right now, but Dune Part 2 was actually better than Dune Part 1. And of course, both of them were better than the David Lynch version of the movie, but what can you say? I mean, we didn't have the technology at the time to adapt such a great story. But Dune Part 2, man, if you want to feel like you're in a cinema event, I mean, the music, the direction, the acting, Chalamet is amazing, and I don't really like him all that much. I know he's in that new Bob Dylan movie that I didn't see yet, but man, he just kills it, and everybody in this movie, and it really just like gets your fist up in the air, and you're just like cheering for him to succeed. So Dune Part 2, if you have a killer sound system, again, like you can tell I love sound design in movies, Dune Part 2 is going to blow out your speakers, and you're going to be happy that it did. All right, we're getting down to the wire with number 2 is The Substance. And this is, I'm going to put that out there, this is a body horror film. And it's not for everybody. In fact, most of these movies are not for everybody. They're my favorite movies, so you're going to have to just accept that. But with The Substance, this is a really, really cool sci-fi film where we see these actresses, Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, I think her name is. They switch bodies, and this is what The Substance is all about. They call this number, and the number sends them this device. And well, actually, let me correct that. They don't switch bodies. Something else happens, and I'm not going to give it away, but it's awesome. Like if you're into weird sci-fi and you just want to like keep seeing where it's going, and the movie keeps like one-upping itself, and you're like, surely that's the end, right? And then no, it keeps going. And man, the ending is so satisfying for someone who looks for this kind of thing. The Substance was a blast, and the old ladies that were in the movie theater with me watching this one hated it. So if that tells you what kind of movie it is, I think you'll enjoy it. All right, we're ready for number 1, and I'll let you guess, but you probably won't. Number 1 is Late Night with the Devil. This one shocked me, and I mean that on multiple levels. Late Night with the Devil, it's a period piece. It's in like the 1970s on Halloween night. Just, man, the perfect atmosphere for a creepy movie. And it's done to the T. Like, I used to watch Johnny Carson and Conan O'Brien, and I love the late night talk show hosts. And they nailed the aesthetic of the late night talk show. And because it's on Halloween night, the set, they have like these people who are like of the occult or people who have been possessed. And they have these, hokey or like kind of chintzy Halloween decorations all throughout. And I just loved every minute of it. But then the movie like really takes it up again, like The Substance, it takes it up to another level. The last 10 minutes of this movie are unlike anything I've ever seen. And keep in mind that this is not a movie for everybody. It gets weird towards the end, but if you are into this kind of like freaky, like paranormal and demonic horror movies, I don't think there's a better movie than this. I really don't. It was a blast. And I know there was some controversy about this movie with like AI, them using AI for some of the artwork. It didn't matter. Like, they really didn't need to do it, and I understand why people were upset, but it didn't bother me, and it didn't ruin the movie. Go see Late Night with the Devil. You will not be disappointed. And just briefly, I want to call out, this is my top films of 2024. There are some that I didn't specifically highlight. Some of the other ones, Cuckoo, really good horror movie, based in Sweden, I think. And then The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling. That was a really fun movie. Long Legs. And then I want to specifically call out Milk and Cereal. This is a movie you can watch right now on YouTube. These indie creators, they're awesome. And this is a movie that really, you don't need $1 million budget to make a good, effective horror movie. And then lastly, Wicked. We all saw it, right? It was great. Everyone was singing along in my theater. And I might go see the Broadway production. Who knows? But that's just to lighten it out with all the serious and horror movies. But Wicked was a fun time, and I liked it. So let me know what you thought of my list, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in a year or two. I don't know. I tend to not make these very consistently, but hopefully this was an enjoyable video, and we'll see you soon.